up, everyone? It's Jeremy Jeffers from What's the Alternative Podcast. This is episode 9 with my guy, Rod Bridges from Wilson, North Carolina. I'm excited to have him on. Rod, tell the people a little bit about yourself, man. Where you from, your purpose in life, and where you are right now.
Well, first of all, man, thank you for having me on. I know we were actually supposed to do this if one of the first few episodes, but scheduling didn't work out. But glad to definitely be on now. But yeah, no, man, I'm Wilson, North Carolina native, man. Graduated from Hunt High School, 2002. I'm an OG in the game, man. So, went to Fayetteville State. So I just been out, trying to find my way in life and find my purpose. And I think I'm getting there at this point, man. So super excited right now. I'm the co-owner of the Hoop State Network, director of marketing, as well as on-screen talent as well too.
So let's dive right into the Hoop State. I'll ask you multiple questions and then you can just kind of answer them layer by layer. So tell us about how the Hoop State got started. What is the purpose of the Hoop State? And, what do you enjoy most about it?
So the Hoop State started for about 3 years ago. Webb Wellman, and he approached me about doing a podcast. He was a Ball's Life at the time. He approached me about, I got the green light to do a podcast of Ball's Life, and you're the perfect person to be my co-host. And I was like, yo, that's crazy because Ball's Life is probably one of the biggest media outlets in the world. Honestly, I mean, their following is huge. So did that for about a year and a half, and one day Webb calls me and said, hey man, leaving Ball's Life, and I'm like, what? Like, wait, like we just literally we had just went to the All-American game out there. So it was a couple of months after that. Webb was like, yo, just kind of sit tight. I got a plan. So that's one thing about Webb. Like Webb always has a plan. Even when, he closes one door, he has another one ready to open. So he was like, yo, what if we create our own like sports network in North Carolina? And I was like, wow. That's crazy because when you think about it, nobody was doing that. There were individual outlets, but their own individual network catered to this high school sports and basketball in North Carolina. It was great. So, so basically we started that. It was myself, Donnie, Webb, Ray Masonette, and then Miles Mastercola. And then we brought on my guy, Anthony Simmons, brought him on as well. And, that's really how the Hoop State Network formed.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So you providing content to for high school kids, or what is actually the meat and potatoes of the Hoop State Network?
So we're like I said, we're a media based content driven company where our focus is mainly on high school because honestly, truthfully, high school kids we had the most access to. They're easier because with college and pro guys they're on such a schedule from day to day. It's hard to get to those guys. So a lot of our content is high school based. So what we try to do, we just try to do different things to put kids in different lights. We do day in the life things. We do commitment videos, and we do workout videos, and we do all different types of things with kids. Just kind of put them in a different light and get people to know them a little better.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna dive right into a question everybody's dying to hear to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't feel like, but I think people's perception of the Hoop State, they don't see it from a business side. So they're like, you're always highlighting the Baby T's, the Bobby Pettifords, last year the Justin Wright. So why are all the top kids continuing to get posted and published versus maybe that up and coming kid who doesn't have as much notoriety? What is I know from a business side, but I want to hear from the Hoop State business side on why you guys do that.
Well, it's two things. One, so when we highlight the top kids in the state, for the first thing we try to do, we want to put them on a national platform because we feel like when we highlight those kids, we feel like they're good enough to be up there with those national guys. So, and we want the national people to know how good they are. So that's one thing. And the second thing, man, at the end of the day, we are a numbers-based. We're a numbers-based company. We're driven by numbers. Our business is driven by numbers. So, a guy like Robert Dillingham or Mikey Williams, they're gonna get more clicks and more views than you know, the leading scorer at, you know, no disrespect, like East Carteret or anything like that. You
Right.
know, I mean, again, great player, whoever it is, you know, we think the world of, you know, we can do anything we can to help, but we know what drives the business, and you know, and that's what it's about, you know. And because you look at a company like Overtime, Overtime posts some of the craziest stuff sometimes, but when you look at the
Right.
engagements and the clicks, you're like,
Right.
yeah, I get it.
Right.
Now we try, you know, we do try to, you know, make our stuff as authentic as possible. But you know, sometimes we probably do teeter the line on, you know, okay, like last year the whole thing was we post too much about Carter Witt. Well, first of all, Carter Witt is cold. Second thing, second thing, Carter Witt was willing and able to sit down with us and do anything we ever needed from him because he knew we believed in him and he knew
Right.
what we were about. So at the end of the day, when we're with a lot of these kids, you know, it's more or less, you know, we're trying to help them get on a national platform, but and also at the same time, I mean, truthfully, to keep it a band, we're helping ourselves as well too because it helps our business.
Right. Right.
So.
So let's talk about Webb Wellman,
Mhm.
the legend, the guy, the man behind the plan. How has it been? I know he got his start with or he blew up after he, you know, was working with John Wall
Mhm.
and Ball His Life. And how has it been working for somebody like that, man, who's been in the industry so long and has such great ideas and such great content?
Well, first thing I would say about Webb, and he's probably I hit when he sees this, he'll probably, you know, be happy I said this, but Webb's a genius, man. Like he is a literal genius, and just the things that he can put together, the content, the ideas, and the storylines he puts together, it's just like it's a mastermind. Like he's a mastermind behind it. Just working with him, man, it's been a good balance because me and Webb work well together because we have the type of relationship. It's almost like like brothers. Like you know, we can laugh and joke, but at the time we can also hold each other accountable when we don't agree
Right.
with something the other's doing. So it's been great working with him. I think you know the best is yet to come with us, and I just you know I think the world of him. You know, it's funny because when you see people when you meet them before, because like I met Webb back in like 2014 when he was filming Jalen. And you know, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's the dude from Ball's Life. You film all John Wall stuff. So I'm just like, I was a fan at that point. But
Right.
at that point, it's over time. I'm still a fan. Don't get me wrong, but it grew
Right.
to like, yo, this is my brother, somebody I can
Right.
trust. Like, you know, we've gone through a lot together. So you know, but
Right.
it's been great working with Webb, man. It's been great working with all those guys, man, because they're all talented, man. You know, Miles is like the young guru of the hoop state. Like he's like that sponge. He has all the information. Donnie's
Right.
super talented with the camera.
Of course.
Like Ray, like even Ray, like people don't see Ray as much on camera, but what Ray does behind the scenes for us, bro.
Right.
I say this to anybody, Jay. If we don't have Ray, the hoop state falls. It's done. We fell apart because
Right.
Ray keeps the day-to-day stuff going, and then
Right.
Simmons is a star, man. Like this is his personality, how vibrant he is. You know, some people don't. You know, it's he's hard to. I guess the way I said people. I think people look at him and they see him on camera and they kind of like they hear the yelling and things like that. But when you get to know Simmons and the person he is, man, like he's truly a really good dude. And, he's a star person. You know what I mean? So
For sure. So
yeah.
how did you even get to the stage of where you're at right now? How did you get the opportunity to get to the hoop state? Tell us the background on that for people who don't know
Yeah.
how
So
you kind of blew up.
kind of, I mean, honestly, for me, it's funny because it's Twitter. Like it was just me just posting my thoughts and things on Twitter. Like it's funny because you see a lot of people that's kind of like gone on to do big things on Twitter. Like a guy like Famous Los, like you
Right.
know he's going on Twitter and said crazy things. And now like he works with the NBA, so you know that's
Right.
crazy. But for me, it was just kind of like just posting my thoughts about basketball, just trying to be as knowledgeable and you know as truthful about the game. And you know, people started to take a liking to it. You know, my early Twitter career, I used to be pretty raw up there. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it started to change when I started, you know, helping Jalen with his recruitment and stuff. A lot of coaches started following me, so it just grew from there, man. Now it's crazy. Like, I think it's funny. I think somebody asked me one day on another interview. They said, "Who's like the most famous person that follows you?" And I was like, I think it's Zion. I think it's Zion.
Williamson.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah. So
crazy.
I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool, you know what I mean? But I think that's probably the most famous person. Carrie Champion did follow me one time, but then she unfollowed me. But I'm a little tight about that one, but it's all good.
Well, let's talk about, let's
cool.
go lead right into the next point of the trolling on Twitter. How do you deal with the ups and downs? Does it get under your skin when people talk reckless and talk crazy?
You know what's funny, Jay? Like sometimes, yes, it does sometimes, but I gotta understand. I understand that people will try to latch on and get engagements off of you just because they
Right.
know if I say something, somebody else is gonna see it, and then the engagement starts to go, and then starts to get replies, and so every blue moon, I'll take the bait, but for the most part, I
Right.
kind of try to stay home, and I just ignore you, like I get so many tweets a day. Sometimes I just scroll and ignore it, man, like
Yeah.
so yeah, it's frustrating at times, but I get it, that's what comes with it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about the youth nowadays and
Hmm.
how social media has changed the way these kids are getting recruited and seen. Um,
Hmm.
being from your side, being connected to the coaches and being really connected to the players, what advice are you giving the kids about what college coaches are looking for via social media?
Yeah, the biggest thing I always tell kids, Jeremy, is just that you're your own brand. Like the second you start to get notoriety, like you become your own brand. So you have to protect your brand. You have to be able to sell your brand to these schools to give you a 4-year scholarship. And any little thing that you do, they're looking at. So I always tell kids, just be mindful of the things that you say, be mindful of the things you do. Just try to be as positive as you can. Don't be fake. Like what bothers me is sometimes I see kids like they go too hard to try to portray
Right.
this good clean image. Like I know you're not like that. Cut it out. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
just be you, but turn it down. Like
Right.
don't give anybody a reason to say, nah, I don't want that kid. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I look at a kid like Jordan Vick, like Jordan, just scratching the surface on his recruitment and
Right.
everything, the process he's going through. And I look at social media. Jordan doesn't post anything crazy. I mean, he loves it. He loves himself. He thinks he's a pretty boy. He loves himself. But I mean, one thing when I do talk to Jordan, I send him messages, and sometimes I just say, "Man, I'm proud of you. Congrats. Keep doing what you're doing. Just know that you're a brand." And I know I know you've had him for a while. I know you drilled that into him as well. But I just say, man, you're a brand. Just continue to watch your brand and monitor your brand, and just watch the people around you, man. Just make sure you keep your family and stay grounded, and because the sky's the limit for that kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So, mhm.
So, how deeply are the college coaches looking at social media?
So you want to know what's funny? Some college coaches have like burner accounts, bro. Like, and so when I was
Wow.
talking to a coach one time, yeah, he was telling me this, and I was just like, explain it to me. He was like, well, think about it. He was like, when you're on Instagram or you're on Twitter or Snap and you post something and you can see who's watching. If a kid sees my name up there, they know I'm watching. They're not gonna be themselves. They're gonna watch what they say, or they're gonna either gonna block
Right.
me. So let me just create. All these kids love they love being they love that attention. So let me
Right.
create a burner account and just
Right.
follow everything they do. You know what I mean? So and he was like, some kids that fell off because I've seen them do some wild stuff, and some kids let me know who they really are. So it's crazy, man. So a college coach, because I mean, a college coach, their job is on the line. So you can't miss on too many kids, man. Like
Right.
every coach is gonna miss here and there, but
Right.
what you keep your job on, what your reputation and what you build on is how many kids you get right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right. And they don't have time to be losing their job over, the guy who's really talented, but he's gonna come in and be doing, knucklehead stuff
hmm
that brings a bad aura on the actual school and the brand of the basketball program. So
right.
that makes sense. That makes sense. What is your advice to going into parents, trainers, coaches that are pushing these kids, to feel like I gotta get an offer. I gotta get an offer. I gotta get an offer. how are coaches recruiting nowadays because the landscape has changed? That's the first question. And the second question is, what advice do you have to these kids who are putting, or their whole circle, who are putting so much pressure on getting that offer?
So the first question is now how coaches are recruiting. Coaches are recruiting the portal first. So I had a coach. So when Jalen went through the grad transfer process last year, a coach broke it down to me. He was like, "So coaches we're looking at portal first, JUCO kids, transfer kids, sit out kids second, transfer kids third, and then high school kids."
Oh wow!
So so think about how many players they're going through, they're sifting through before they get to it. And, you know, some programs don't even touch JUCO kids, and you know, I don't. That's another story. But I mean, everybody's in the transfer portal. Every single school in the country's in the transfer portal. They're looking. So, because you think about it, like, so I'll give you an example. If you're looking at a kid that's played the Big South for 2 years, he averaged 15 points. Like Christian Keeling, that went to Carolina. He was at Charleston Southern, scored 1,700 points, averaged 18 his junior year. So it seemed like Carolina, say, well, do I want this 4-star kid or potential 5-star kid that maybe can help me right away? Or do I want a proven guy that can plug in my system and help me win games next year? And so that's what a lot of coaches are looking at. So for the 21 and 22 class, it's extremely tough to get offers. That's why if you notice, you have not seen a lot of kids getting offers like normal. A lot of kids not getting offers because a lot of coaches they're like, yo, if I got 2 scholarships available, I'm hitting that portal, because it's going to be 2,000 kids in the portal in 3 or 4 months. As soon as the season's over with, and kids can transfer right away and not sit. Yo, everybody's out. You know what I mean? And these schools are going to be pulling from those Big South, those SoCon, all those smaller conferences. They're going to get those guys who are interested in leaving. So for the second part, I think the biggest message is, just play out every scenario for kids. As a trainer, as a coach, as a parent, play out every scenario. Hey, if you get a scholarship, you're blessed. Congratulations. We're proud of everything that you've done. But what happens if you don't get a scholarship? Go ahead and figure out what school, what school can you see yourself being a part of for 4 years, and can you live in that city for 4 years? Like, what's your plan in life? Because a lot of times, man, we like you said, we drill hoops and all these kids like, yo, you gotta make it, you gotta do this, you gotta do that in third, this, that, and third. What happens when you don't make it? Because when basketball is over, you got to figure out how to be a productive citizen in life. Like, you got to be able to get out here and function.
And I think that's the hardest part for a hooper, because I know hoopers to this day, I have friends that are going through it, man. They're just depressed on they didn't get as far as they wanted to, or now they're just working at something. And I went through it, personally. I just went through it and it's part of the reason what's the alternative podcast is what it's all about. Like, what's your alternative to, when you're done at the high school level, the collegiate level, or the pro level? Because it's just such a, I worked at Enterprise and I was renting cars from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I'm just like, bro, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, and even you have it, you know what I mean? You're now back in that realm from a different perspective. But it's just like, what am I doing in my life, bro? Like, and I never forget, I quit Enterprise. And for a lot of people who don't know, I quit Enterprise and I went and worked at Hewitt or Toyota for 1 day. 1 day, Rob. My mom put me on. My mom was sick, bro. Why did I put in? I said, Mom, I can't do it. You know what I mean? It's just not me. I can't sit behind the desk. And I never forget this. My dad sat me down. What makes you happy? What is your passion? Well, I've been doing one thing for 25 years, basketball. So like, if I work somewhere, at least being able to go play, will give me that stress free. But like working, and then you know how it is. You get off work, you're tired, you don't feel like, but like that puts you in a state of you're miserable. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's what kind of started. I asked Coach Sauter, and he blessed me to let me assistant coach for Greenfield. And I'm like, okay. Now I'm back in here. I'm practicing with them, so like I'm happy. Then the training, then I started working with Kobe, Elijah, and Tayana, and then everything just kind of grew from there, man. And it was it's just like now I'm in a position where I can get these kids game earlier, man. Like they need to know in middle and high school that okay, man. Like if you like cutting hair, like really get nice at that, you know what I mean? Like you could be making money you can be making money in high school and always know, like, never stop chasing your dream. But like, bro, like, I can open my own shop like when I'm 21. I don't have to wait until I just feel like if we knew this, like, think about it. If Webb and you knew each other in high school and knew, like, all right, if I was going to create a content in 2010 or whatever, where you guys would be crazy.
Yeah,
It'd be crazy,
right
crazier.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
So
Yeah, but you know what's crazy, man? I'm glad you said that, just because that's how I feel like our purpose is being from Wilson. You know, we don't see that many successful people in
right,
basketball in general. You
right,
know, so I think it's our purpose, me and you in particular, and guys like and you know, to
right,
show these kids, yo, there's a way, bro. Like you can be directly to the game, or you can find a way around just to be around the game. So I feel like that's our purpose, to give back to these kids, because, like, you know, I mean, playing it. So that's one thing I love about Sauter. Like, at Greenfield's a family, bro. You're always family in
right.
Greenfield, even when you're not there anymore. And like, there's opportunities for you just based off being in Greenfield. I can't
Mm-hmm.
say the same that's the same at public schools in Wilson. Honestly,
Right,
the culture is becoming public schools is, once you're done, you're done. Like, there's
right,
no life development, life coaching, things like that. So
right.
that's why it's important for guys like us to kind of, be those pillars in the community, and to continue to push that message home to these kids, man. So no,
Yeah,
I'm definitely, I love it. Yo.
that's good, man. Well, talk to me about what what advice do you have for the kid who is on the rise, right? And obviously
hmm
he has a social media accounts, but there's a thin line between, you know, feeling yourself and, you know, being humble. I guess it's
hmm
just it's a different era, because I sit on the fence where it's like, oh my God, these kids, like, this Instagram, like, they doing it for likes and videos, and everybody want a mixtape so they can, you know what I mean? And it's just like the other side of it is just like, this is how they get seen nowadays. Like, it's
Yeah,
legit. Like, if you have a crazy mix, it can legit get sent to a college coach. So it's just like,
yeah, yeah.
it's a thin line. But like, when you're right, you know, rising on that popularity level, it's like, all right, you know, I'm that guy at 14, 15 years old, because Kobe White and Bam Adebayo and everybody's liking my post and saying, keep going, young boy. You know, how do you balance that as a kid, and what advice do you have for them? Because it's got to be tough for them to, like, deal with the popularity, but like, I haven't really got there yet, so I don't really, like,
Right, right,
know how
right.
to keep myself humble.
For me, man, it's always just kind of keeping kids home. Like, yo, like, yeah, congratulations to where you've gotten to this point, but what have you really done yet? Like, you've gotten there, but you gotta understand, once you get to that next level, it starts all the way over again. Nobody cares that you're a 5-star recruit. Nobody cares that
Hmm.
you average 30 or 40 points in high school. Like, yo, when you get to college, yo, you know it. Everybody can
Right,
hoop. Like, you, like,
right,
even the walk on, you're like, yo, the walk on's a bucket. You know what I mean?
right.
So, like,
100%.
you know what I mean? So you see it all the time. So it's just like, it's a fine line, because you want these kids to get this notoriety, because you want them to be known on a national scale. But at the same time, you just like, man, you gotta learn how to humble yourself, because life will humble you quickly, very
Facts.
quickly. We've seen so many guys get to that next level and just fizzle out, honestly, because a lot of guys, they're not tough mentally, because they've leaned on
Hmm.
social media for so long to
There
give
you
them
go.
that satisfaction. Like, when you're
Right.
hot, you hot on social media. But as soon as you suck, bro, like, bro, you're bad. Like, I'll give you a perfect example, man. Like, I always use Jalen as my example, because I literally been there every step of the way.
Right.
When Jalen's in Arkansas, man, when his career started at Arkansas, he was going crazy, double doubles. He was leading the country in like top 5 in assists, number 1 assist to turnover ratio. Like, Jalen was having a year, like his first
Right.
10 games, a year. SEC came, everything started to change, where he was on the scouting board. He was number 1 on the scouting
Hmm.
board now, because you're the head of the
Hmm.
snake. They know they go as you go.
Hmm.
So let's take you away. So he started to struggle. And man, when he started to struggle, people on social media, like, literally, like, try to destroy him, man. Like, it's crazy, because that's a kid, bro. Like, he's grown, but he's a kid, bro. So Jalen's whole life, he's never had people like literally just voicing their opinion about him and
Right.
saying these negative things. So when it hit him, he was just like, "Yo, like you see, like every game, you see what they say." So finally got to the point of a couple of games. I'm like, "Yo, Jalen, stop looking at that, bro." Like it's tough because even I looked at it, but like it's
Yeah.
tough. Like just focus. So you know, what I
it's
mean, it's
and
tough.
it's a thin line because these kids are so. I think social media, like you said, they rely on it so much that it makes them. I'm not going to
Yeah,
use the word, but like sensitive, I guess. You know, like they're
no,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's a different era, and I feel like a lot of kids now, like it's so much pressure from that and from playing that, like when they go out and play, it's like I have to get 10 or more points, or because this camera's over here, and I'm going to have this mixtape instead of just going out and just like that's one thing I love about our era without having to. We just hooped. We just who
Hoop,
okay.
bro.
If you playing when we play John Wall, okay, the camera's gonna be over there, but like
Right.
I'm not gonna do anything out the norm. Like the camera's over there, so it might be if I'm on a fast break with me and Pookie, I may go behind the back instead of doing this. But
Right.
like I'm not gonna go one on one, and it's like it looks like it's all about me because if I don't get 20, then I don't get looked at. It's just I feel like the pressure that's on these kids is and I don't really know how to balance it. Like all we can do is talk to them, but like what do you think they need
So
to do as far as balance?
it, it's tough. So I'll give you another example. A kid like Mikey Williams, man, like his social media presence is
Right,
unmatched. Like you've never seen a kid this young have this
right,
type of social media following. But with that, man, it comes such pressure, such responsibility to
right,
a 16-year-old kid who's still learning how to play basketball. We know
right,
he's uber athletic, he can score, but man, when you watch Mikey J, like he's still learning how to play the game. He's
right,
still developing. He's still developing, which every 16-year-old kid should be.
right,
But when he doesn't perform to his standards, yo, people, these kids made a YouTube video about him struggling in the game, and that joint got like 80,000 views in like a week, bro. And
yeah,
it's crazy because first of all, that's a kid, bro. Like we can't expect kids to handle the same things as adults because kids have been
mm-hmm,
smacked. They haven't
right,
gone through life like that. You know what I mean?
right,
So like, when people always ask me about Mikey, like, man, he ain't like that. I'm like, no, he's exactly who he's supposed to be right now. Like, but y'all don't understand, like, you've never lived with that type of pressure that kid has
you
on himself right
at
now.
all, and then everybody has their own opinion, but this kid is literally being sponsored. I
Drake,
mean, Drake hit him up. Yeah, I
yes,
saw that. I'm like, yo, this is like that's got to be a different. I have to live up to that. So like, if I don't work
exactly.
out, and now I got to do this, and now I got to feel obligated to go out there and get 25 instead of if I don't get 25, then everybody's at my neck. But if I get 12 with 10 assists and we win, it's not good enough for people, and people still coming at my neck. And they mention the kid. That's the difference. Like,
It's
it's
crazy.
literally directly comes to my phone. It's not like an article where I can just ignore it. It's like at Mikey,
It's real.
whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy. Like people they're really bold behind these phones, these computers, man.
Yeah.
It's funny, man, because I've gone toe to toe with some of these guys on Twitter, man. Especially
Right.
talking about Jalen, because I feel like it's my job to protect him sometimes. So,
Mm-hmm.
I've said a few things to a few Arkansas fans or writers.
Right.
Like I was like,
Right.
drop your location, you know what I mean? So I get it,
Right.
you
Right.
know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So
So what is so going right into the hoop state and you guys' purpose to obviously help the kids. Um, what is obviously you guys have your own brand within the company, and you
mhm.
have the elite 50 camp, middle school camp, and you also have the Rod Bridges experience. So and you also have the New South podcast with Webb.
Yeah,
But talk
yeah.
about your brand specifically and where you're trying to go with your brand.
So about 5 or 6 years ago, me and Jalen's dad MJ Harris, we created the Elite 50 camp just to kind of give kids in Eastern North Carolina an opportunity to be seen by, some of the same scouts that were recruiting them at the high school level that we developed relationships with. So, by like year three, we had started to get a pretty big following. It grew to where we were getting kids from all over the state. In year three, we have Jaquavion Smith, Elijah Jameson, Lucas Taylor, Mike Best. I mean, we had a great camp, and a lot of talented kids from the state were there. So for us, it was just kind of like our way of giving back to the camp, giving back to the community, just trying to give these kids an opportunity. Like we wanted kids in Wilson to kind of see, yo, you got a chance, yo. Like they're like Devon Jones. We
Right.
wanted Devon Jones to see, you had a chance. Like you got a chance to be whatever you want to be, but we're gonna
Right.
put you up against the guys that you need to be up against. So, um, and so we took a couple of years off, but we're gonna come back this year, probably in the fall. COVID willing. And we're going to, include the best players in the state and see what we can, what we can come up with, man. The Robbers experience is more of a variety show where, our basketball culture in North Carolina is so rich, and I think, North Carolina basketball is literally, to me, I think it's the greatest state in the country in terms of basketball, just
Right.
off the NBA players and history. And we got Michael
Right.
Jordan. Like, I mean, it was called
Right.
spade to spade, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? But I think so. My show is about just diving into those cultures all over the state. The first episode was kind of like a behind the scenes where I was coaching at the Phenom Top 80, and just kind of just getting to know me a little bit. Then the next episode was we were going to Wilson, chopping up with my mom and stuff like that. So now we're gonna go to the coast. We're gonna go to Kinston. I mean, because think about the Kinston story, man. One out of every
Yeah.
53
Yeah, that's
players
crazy.
go
I
to the
watched the
NBA. Like,
documentary. That was pretty crazy.
yeah, that documentary was crazy, bro. Like, and honestly, the next Dontrez Styles is the next one, bro.
Right.
Like, yeah, you know what I mean. So it's crazy. So we just want to highlight the people in the state that need to be highlighted, like just kind of the people that you may not know, and it may not always be a basketball player. It may be somebody connected to the game. So
Okay.
just want to sit down and talk to those people, and give them a platform to be seen as well too. So that's what the Rodney Richards experience is, and the New South is just me and Webb just they're just talking crazy, more Webb talking crazy than me, but
Right.
you know what I mean. So but we're working on some dope things with the Hoop State this year, 2021. I know we spoke about a few things, but we're our goal this year is to kind of get into these different communities and show everybody that we want to help everybody. So
I think that's super dope. What is your
yeah.
so speaking about communities, we'll get off topic, but with I
Yeah.
see it on your chest, 252.
Oh yeah,
Obviously
always.
that means a lot to
Yeah.
myself and you. What is your goals for the 252? Obviously with the camp and the Rod Bridges experience, but outside of that, like what do you feel like your purpose is to help the 252?
I think the 252 has probably been like the most underlooked area in the state for so long. And obviously to this credit, to a lot of these guys' credit, the last few years that there have been a lot of guys like Tony Bruton and those guys that have really shine a light on the eastern part of the state to help get kids get seen. And
Right.
for me, I think my responsibility is my purpose is to get back home and to these other cities in the 2-5 and help kids be seen. I feel like if I can help one kid, two kids get somewhere that they had no chance of going before I help, I think I've done. I think I fulfilled my purpose. And like I said, me and you talk all the time about different things that we want to do to help kids, man. And
Right.
one thing about me and you that I respect a lot, we see a lot of the same things. Like, we know that kids are under recruited. We know kids don't have the resources that they need to thrive, but we also know people don't put in the time and the effort that they need
Yeah.
to
And
to get where they need.
I
Yeah.
guess for me, and I see guys on Twitter talking about how we don't have, obviously, yes, resources plays a part as far as uh, not having the same facilities that Raleigh or Charlotte or Greensboro may have, which is,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, me and my business partner Darren, that was our purpose of the Powerplex. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
this is our year 3 coming up. We're obviously about to move into a bigger facility, which will be able to do more. But that was our purpose. But it feels like it's taken a while for the culture of Eastern North Carolina to catch on how important it is to work out. You go to Raleigh, I guarantee you, like you said, the guys, Mikey Williams, they're working out 3-4 times a week easily, and maybe even twice a day in the off season, I guess. But like we
Yep.
want to play pickup and say we're working out, or go to the gym, and we may be there for an hour and a half. But like, how much constructive work are you doing when you're in there? Are you working on ball screens? Are you working on game actions, or ball handling? What are you doing? Or are you in there just shooting around and saying, so you can put it on Instagram and say I'm in the gym? But like, part of it is very frustrating on my side because I sit on the business side and the kid side. But like some people don't have the resources. But how are you buying Jordans and PlayStation 5s that cost $600? And I understand that's an instant thing, like where you're really trying to keep your kid happy. But like I'm the type of guy, like if you come to me like, Jeremy, I want my kid to be this, like I'll work with you on the pricing. You know what I mean? Like I want to see what's best for the kid, but it's just like it's a give and take. Like this area, I love the kids, and I'm really gonna give these kids every opportunity. I'm pouring my all into them, but at some point in time, I feel like we got to stop pointing the fingers at the Rod Bridges and the Webb for not looking out for the 252. And if a kid works out 4 times a week, he's gonna get better. And then when he plays in that Hoop State camp or Hoop State event, he shows out. And that it's how the game goes.
It is, man. Like, and, you know, again, like I always tell people, like you look at kids like that came from the 252, like, yeah, they dominated the area, but what they had to do is they worked their tails off for dominating in the 2-5. Then they had to go do it in the 919, in the 704. Had to go do it in Georgia, South Carolina. That's how that's how they got recruited. But you got to be able to dominate your area first before you can go on it. But what comes with that, bro, you got to work your tail off, man. And these kids, a lot of these kids, they want the instant gratification, Jay. Like kids, they think they work out for a week with you. Oh, I got better. He taught me this, that, and third. Nah, like he worked out with a week for you. He's learning what you can and can't do. Now you're putting a plan in place to help that player grow.
And it's a program. Like what's your thoughts on kids going from trainer to trainer to trainer? What's your thoughts on that?
I'll be honest with you, man. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And the reason I hate it is because I feel like you're everybody's going with the hot trainer, the trainer who's posting the most on social media. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm going to such and such because they got that work. I go who's going basically. But when you see this, you're doing the same drills everybody else are doing. How are you getting better? Did that trainer really cater the workout to specifically get you better, or did he just roll the ball out for hours and do the basic stuff to get your money? Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah,
you know that's what people gotta understand, man. Like there's a science to it, man. That's why I respect you.
It's a process, you know what I mean? Just to see like growth in a player, and it's just like people wonder. You know, I get it all the time. You come to me for the summer. You come to me in October before the tryouts, and then you wonder why he's missing shots. And I don't know what's wrong. We got to get him back with you. It's kind of like a year-long process. You know what I mean? Like it's not a game. You know what I mean? So it's just like I tell the story all the time. But like when I was working with Kobe in high school, I literally had to tell him and Elijah, well, both of them, him and Elijah, like, y'all need to take a day off. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. I mean, like, bro, what we got tomorrow? Like, game on Friday. Hey, Saturday morning, we getting shot. Bro, rest your body. You know what I mean? Because rest is important. But, like, 2-3 times a day during the season, after the season, and you wonder why they're at where they're at. But, like.
That's what people don't understand about Kobe. Kobe's a maniac. Kobe was a maniac, bro.
Yeah, he was.
Okay. Kobe's a maniac. Like, even when you tell him to take days off, you see a video pop up, he had to go for a while playing somebody. You're like, I know he just told you to chill, bro.
Right.
Like,
but you know, bro. We just gotta buy in though, man, because you know, to circle back all that back around, not to try to be negative on our area, but it's just like you guys now have the resources. I don't want to hear any more about we don't have this. You coming soon. You're gonna have a full court gym where you can come in and get better. I got some big things planned. You got Rod Bridges, you got Tony Bruton, you got Troy, who's up in Roanoke Rapids. I can name so many. You got Keith McLaughlin down there in Greenville. You got the Premier Sports Academy also in Greenville with Terrence Copper. It's like I don't want to hear any more excuses on why you can't be this and be that. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of you putting the work in, like you said, dominate your area. I mean, it is what it is. Like you said, everybody, I'm nice. Okay, well, if you can't show me versus this team in Greenville, in Wilson, in Roanoke Rapids, in Rocky Mount, then all right, then you go to Raleigh and see what it is. You know, it's just
right.
Yeah, man. But anyway, we're gonna end off, man. Tell me some leave some nuggets with the kids. What you think they should be working on. what college coaches are looking for as far as a off the court standpoint, any type of advice you can give the players.
One thing I always talk to kids about is I always talk about their character. Your character not only matters on the court, your character matters in every aspect of your life, you know,
right?
Because what people see on social media is what they're going to believe. So when everything that you post, like I said, everything is tied to you. So your character matters because what people are going to assume is if you post this type of stuff on social media, that's the person that you are in real life. So treat people with respect. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Everybody. Even I always tell kids with college coaches, schools that you know that you absolutely do not want to go to, you don't want to mess with, or you may think you're quote unquote bigger than that school. You have a relationship with that coach. You talk to that coach and say, and just be truthfully honest with the coach and have dialogue, because you never know what that coach is going to be in a year.
All right. 100%.
You know, so the thing, like college coaches, things change in an instant. So, and these college coaches are all tied together. They talk to each other. So if you're talking to a D2 school you don't want to go to because you got D1s looking at you, but you hating on that D2 school, what happens? That D2 school calls the coach like, yo, I talked to such and such. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know about him. You know, he's kind of like standoffish. Now you cross off the list and you don't even know why. So at the end of the day, I what I'm leaving you with is your character matters. Be a good person. Don't give anybody a reason to have anything to say negative about you.
All right. That's dope, man. That's dope. Well, we'll wrap it up, man. I appreciate you hopping on the episode with me, man. 252 always, and we're gonna.
I gotta get you a shirt, bro. Listen.
Yeah, I do gotta get one. Yeah.
No, I got you, bro. I got to get your shirt. Yeah. We got your shirt and the hoodie, bro. You know, you support us for a while, bro. You know, it's all love and respect from here. So, you know, I got to get you right, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for being on, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to the What's the Alternative podcast on the Power Basketball YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn that bell on for notifications for more videos to come. See you next time.